And good morning. Welcome to Hobby Evolution. Hey, we're a little early compared to the rest of this week. Yes, I'm weaning myself off of NyQuil, so I did not take any NyQuil last night. I'm still congested, but trying to. But I didn't set an alarm this morning because I'm trying to conserve energy because I'm going to need it tomorrow and Saturday for the Madison Card Show. Let's throw that banner up. Madison Card Show coming up this Saturday, Sheraton Hotel, John Nolan Drive. There you see scrolling at the bottom of your screen the rest of the schedule so far. We'll get July, August, September dates set probably end of April, early May. So this Saturday, John Nolan Drive, Sheraton Hotel, 175 tables, 3 ballrooms. Free admission, show hours 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Sold out show. So I'm conserving my energy because I'm going to need it because I take 20 of my own tables to set up Friday night. And then I'm up super early Saturday morning. And Saturday, obviously, show day is a long day. So I've been conserving my energy. That's why I'm not coming on at 7 a.m., forcing myself to do Hobby Evolution at 7 a.m. every morning. Just let my body wake up. And when my body says, hey, wake up, that's when we come on to do Hobby Evolution. So we're getting back to normal. Maybe tomorrow we'll be on time. Tomorrow's Friday already. So I do have, what's funny is today I have the local Madison newspaper coming over, the Wisconsin State Journal. And the funny thing is, I'm at the point where it doesn't faze me now. Like it used to be when I had people come because they're taking photos. So now I will, as soon as I get done with Hobby Evolution, I've got Big League to get listed. But I do have like I have a bunch of like snot rags in the trash can. So I'll get the trash taken out. You know, I've got boxes behind me on the floor. I'll get things picked up, but it's like I'm not bending over backwards to like make sure everything is neat and tidy. Just because there's been so much traffic here lately. So they're coming in a little bit later this morning. I think that story in the newspaper is going to run next week. And I'll hit my millionth next week. So somebody gave me the idea to do a count. Was it Cody? Might have been Cody, gave me the idea, do a countdown of like the last 100 cards, which I think is a phenomenal idea. So I'm going to utilize that. I don't know if I'm going to put it in video form, but it's definitely going to be tweeted out and maybe when I remember to put it on Instagram. So I did do a latest post. I got the Topps Big League. There were 92, which actually sounds kind of like a low number for 20 boxes, but I guess not because I think that even though there was only 20 boxes, it was this. I think it's the same amount of cards or a similar amount of cards as Flagship Series 1, like my jumbo case. So I ripped all 20 boxes, got through those yesterday. I've got a funny story to share, non-card related, neighborhood related. So that kind of set me back about an hour. So my adventure yesterday set me back an hour. I didn't, Flipping Sports Guy Paul sent me a message. His case was fire. Mine was not. I did hit 10 autos in the case. Most of them were $5 to $10 autos. I did pull a gold numbered to 50 auto of Leody Taveras of the Texas Rangers. And I pulled a red auto of 5 of Whit Merrifield. So it's like, red auto, Whit Merrifield. But they all can't be Ichiro like in my Series 1 case rip. So a few super rare reds. Fernando Tatis Jr., I think, was the biggest name out of there. But I wasn't expecting hits. Like, I honestly thought I would only get like 4 autographs in the entire case. So I got 10. So that beat the expectations. And 2 of them were numbered, which crushed my personal expectations. So overall, I bought my case of Big League for the singles, for the base. It's all about the base. So I finished up my sorting last night before bed. I had like 60 or I had like 150 to 200 still in stacks that I needed to sort by, numbers and get them. So basically how I sort my cases when I list all the cards, as I rip, I'm putting them in groups of 10. So 1 through 9, 10 through 19, 20 through 29. So I'm putting all those out in order. Because most are, I think tops I had to do in hundreds because there's 350 cards. But in Big League, there's only 200 base cards. So, and then after that, it's the foils. So I was able to sort in tens. So then I would just go and I get a new fresh 4-row box, label it 2024 Big League. I've got my tab dividers 1 through 9, 10 through 19, 20 through 29. Once I've got everything ripped and they're all in piles of 10, then I go through 1s, 2s, 3s, 4s. I get the ones, I count, I put one card aside because that's going to be the scanned card, the card that goes through the scanner. And then, I've got 10 of these. So I've got a Post-it note, card 1, 10, 2, 10, 3, 9, 4, 12. So I've got the numerical. So at the end, once I get everything listed, I can go in the quantity and shoot, fill that out all the way down. So the base is completely sorted numerically. I've got all the numbers. So now I just got to run it. I'm going to try to get that started. It will be time consuming because it's not in Card Dealer Pro, but all of my settings will be set. I'll just have to type in the title and the player and the team. I think just those three. And I'm a fast typer, so I'll be able to get those done pretty quickly. So that's Big League. I did list some of the autographs last night in the super rare reds. The foils, there's a one foil per pack. So that's probably going to be the last. The inserts, I think, will be second. I'll get the base listed. The To the Moon inserts are freaking awesome. I love those. And Sammy Sosa's in there. I saw there's a Sammy Sosa To the Moon autograph on eBay. I'm like, oh, but I'm not going to pay that. So what they're asking. So I did rip the first, but I ended up doing a whole box live yesterday afternoon. So if you're wondering what Topps Big League looks like, some of the inserts and just if you want to see Ohtani in a Dodgers uniform, a rookie of Yamamoto, check out my video that I put up yesterday. I did the entire box. Yesterday morning, I'm like, I'm just going to do a few packs. Once I got rolling, it's like, might as well do the whole box. Didn't want to do more than a box because it was work. Like I had 6 boxes. I'd opened 14. Is that right? 14. I had 6 boxes to go. And I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. I still have 6 boxes. It was work. It was work. Like, I don't know how I would not want to do it. Like, not only, like, at least what I do, like, I don't keep the cards, but I do. I keep the Cubs cards. Everything else is for sale, but at least it's, I don't just have to pat like, oh, here's all the Dodgers cards that are going to Cooter, his favorite team. So it's not like that, like in a break. And I hate breaking on camera. Because here's the thing, like I cannot imagine sitting still to break an entire case of Topps Big League because I broke it up into like 4 shifts yesterday afternoon. Breaking 20 boxes of Big League, and it became work towards the end. At one point, though, during one of the shift breaks, it was mid-afternoon, so I'm like, oh, I better go take Biscuit to go potty. So I think it's about 3:00, and usually, so Biscuit's pretty good with her, even though it's a new house. She's pretty good with her boundaries. Like she knows every once in a while she like tests the boundary. It's like, hey, get back here. But she's pretty good. But I don't want to take her out because we go the easiest way to take her to go potty at this house is the front yard, which there's a sidewalk. It's the neighborhood. So you got to be careful. You don't want Biscuit to go chase after a dog and the dog's like, fuck you. So during the day, I'm a little careful. But I'm like, it's kind of cold. I haven't seen many people while I've been in the basement, but I don't see any people out there. So I just let her go without a leash. And all of a sudden, I see a dog running down the sidewalk. Not just any dog, but you've heard me talk about Rosie and the Chihuahuas. It's Rosie. Rosie's running loose because Rosie lives, I think, like 3 doors down across the street. So I'm like, Rosie. And Rosie's just like, fuck you. I don't trust you. You might grab me and take me home. I don't trust you. So Biscuit like knows Rosie. Biscuit and Rosie know each other. And so they like kind of sniff. And I like kind of walk closer and she's like a stray dog. She's got tags and everything. So I'm like, well, maybe it's not Rosie. Because Rosie's like the sweetest dog when she's on a leash with her owner, with her human. And I'm like, well, maybe it's not Rosie. So I look down the street to the house where Rosie belongs, where I think this dog belongs. And there's a guy standing on his a neighbor standing on his front porch, and I wave. I'm like, hey, is that Rosie? It's like, no, that's just ran by my house. I'm like, oh, okay. So there's another guy walking his dog. I don't know where he put his dog though. He had a golden retriever, but he was just walking. And but he did say, he's like, I've got my dog. Maybe he's a neighbor too. I don't know. He must be. He lives in the neighborhood. So anyway, we're talking. And I'm like, I think it's Rosie that lives, but the owner just said it wasn't. And so we're and Rosie, or the dog we think is Rosie, is now like 2 doors down that way, the other way, and just chilling, just like watching us like dumbass humans. I'm not going home. So all of a sudden this SUV pulls up, and it's an Asian couple, and the lady gets out of the passenger side and she goes, Rosie. And I'm like, it is Rosie, but that's not Rosie's humans. And so she comes running up, and I'm like, I'm like, wow, this dog's named Rosie too. Like, my neighbor has a dog named Rosie that looks just like that. And she goes, that's Rosie. We're dog sitting. And I'm like, holy shit. So these people who are dog sitting Rosie live like 2 miles away. Rosie escaped from their house 2 miles away and ran to her home, but just ran by, like didn't go up to the porch. Maybe she did go to the porch and nobody answered the door because they're not home. So, okay. So it is. So now we have me, the other guy, the Asian couple, and the other neighbor. And so the other neighbor comes and he's like checking out. He's like, what's, what? I'm like, apparently this is Rosie, like the neighbor's dog. And he's like, that's Rosie? He's like, they're out of town. I'm watching their other dogs. And I'm like, the Chihuahuas. He's like, yeah, I'm watching their Chihuahuas. So now he's involved, and his wife later gets involved. So now there's like, it's like neighborhood, all hands on deck. All right. So he and the lady are like ahead of me. So Rosie like takes off. She's like, oh shit, they've got numbers, humans and numbers. So Rosie takes off, and our road kind of curves up, and then you take a right or a left. So Rosie's like following the sidewalk, and then she takes a left, basically her walking route, right? So the lady and the neighbor, they take off running that way. I'm not a runner. And the guy that's dog sitting, he's in the SUV. So he takes off driving. I think my neighbor called his wife, so she gets in a car. And I'm tailing behind. Like, what do I do? I don't have a coat on. I'm just going to, it's okay. I'm just going to keep walking. So then another neighbor, this is crazy. Another neighbor pulls up and she's like, get in. Do you need? And I'm like, no, I'm going to hang back. I'm going to hang back and create a perimeter. So I think she only helped like briefly. So there's the pond is straight behind my house and it goes to all the way to the block, to the road over here. And so the two that are ahead of me that were running, they are now like Rosie is now like sprinting. Like Rosie is sprinting down the sidewalk. So here, like all of a sudden, like I may not be a runner, I may not be strong, but I have smarts sometimes. So I'm like, Rosie is following her like walking path. They're now all the way up by like the playground equipment in the park beyond the pond. I'm like, Rosie is just taking her like walking. She's just sniffing the route she walks every day. So I cut across the pond. So I'm at the water's edge. Great song by Seven Mary 3. Is that Seven Mary? No, maybe. I can't remember. But anyway, I go down to the water's edge. And like I'm going to cut her off. So I'm just kind of walking along the pond edge, the water's edge. And guess what? Guess what Rosie does? No, it's not the toadies. It's not the toadies. It's the water's edge. The water, Seven Mary 3. It is Seven Mary 3. So all of a sudden Rosie's taking the sidewalk. So I am now in a full-on sprint, which to most of you is a jog. So I'm able to, and the reason I'm in a full-on sprint is because there's a bridge. So at least if we contain Rosie, it's a large park, but at least she's contained. Where if she gets to the bridge, she can cross into the neighborhood, and then it's just, she's all over the place. But at least if we can contain her in the park, we know where she's at. So I sprint and I make it to the bridge just in time. That's what I'm doing. I'm like huffing and puffing. Oh my God. But I'm able to get to the bridge in time. So we contain her. And by this time, another couple. So there is like 8 or 9 of us total. So my neighbor's wife is now in her SUV and she's at like where the bridge comes into the neighborhood. That's where she's at. So I'm like, I'm going to go get my car now and help now that we've got it contained and she's like way back there. So I tell the wife, like, she went like kind of up by the apartment. So maybe if you swing around over into the apartments. So I come home, get my car, I drive down to the park, and now we have a full-on like army of like 10 people trying to corral this one dog. And you can tell Rosie is like tired, and she'll like just kind of like sit, and like the perimeter is gaining in on her, and then all of a sudden she takes off sprint. Like, Jesus, this dog has like an extra level. So Rosie finally takes off towards the water. I'm like, there's no way she's jumping in the pond. She didn't, but she is now at the water's edge. And she follows the pond, the water's edge, all the way around. And now she does escape into the neighborhood. I'm like, fudge. So I go get my car and I spin through the neighborhood. Can't see anything. I don't even see anybody. I go into the apartments. Don't see anything over there. Come back around, and now there's like all the people are at my neighbor's house. Wave. All of that. We didn't catch her. She ran home. That was it. She just ran home. Nobody caught her. She just ran home, and she, like, I'm done. Give me some water. I'm done. You guys suck. I win. Rosie wins. And that is why dogs are better than humans. So that was my adventure yesterday. Let's go to the chat. Rosie, you stinker. Good morning, Kyle. What's happening? Steve's in the house. Happy opening day. Cubs Rangers down in Arlington tonight, actually. David, happy opening day. Todd, good morning. Cubbies on ESPN opening night. Yes, can't wait. I can watch it. Well, I can watch it anyway. Last year I couldn't because it was Cubs Brewers. So I had to do one of those illegal pirate streams on the internet. Good morning, Victor. Justin Steele, let's go. It's opening day. It was so nice waking up and opening the ESPN fantasy baseball app and getting my lineups. And I'm in a conundrum because my lineup, we didn't talk about it the other day. My lineup is not built for multi-position players. Like, I don't have a single batter that is eligible for multiple positions, which is not good. But I was going best player available to fill my needs on my roster. And it just worked out that way. That last year it was like the opposite. Like, everybody had multiple positions. This year, not the case. So I'm already running, but you draft, and I'm not one of those guys where I'm just gonna I'm prepared for the draft. So the lineup that I have right now, batters and pitchers, those are the guys I'm gonna roll with. I'm not gonna draft a guy and then be like, oh, unless an injury or for some reason, there's no reason for me to do that. But tomorrow I've got at least one position open, and there's somebody on the waiver wire that I really like, and I'm surprised he's there. But I'm like, I should pick him up now. But it's I don't know who to drop. And I'm carrying, I think, 7 starting pitchers. Because you you never know. And it's I could drop a starting pitcher, but I don't want to. I don't know who to drop. So I'm in a pickle. And I'm gonna have to chew on it for a little bit. Mark Marinello, what's up? He does not get opening day as a Mets fan, at least not today. Mark's opening day is postponed. Haven't seen you live in 2 weeks. Happy opening day. I have. Yeah, it has been a while, hasn't it? Because I was at spring training, and then I was home for a few days. I am home now. I have been home, but I've been under the weather, and I've been in a NyQuil haze and not going live until 10 o'clock your time. Harlan's in the house. Good morning. Flawed Thinker is here. Good morning. Bill Simus, good morning. Orlando, what's happening? Michael Renicky, what's going on? Michael Renicky, one of my dealers this Saturday at the Madison Card Show. Cooter's here. Good morning. I thought it was funny your first press on the 1 Million Cubs project came from Oklahoma. That was it was random. The reason for it, though, the story behind it is Sharon is the lady who wrote the article. She was on Twitter. She's a Braves fan in Oklahoma, and she was a writer for that newspaper. And she picked up on it. And she's like, hey, can I do a story? I'm like, absolutely. And that was the first story of the 1 million, Ponca City, Oklahoma, the 1 Million Cubs project. I think my first podcast was with Ken and Jason Martin. I think they were the very first to interview me. And then the newspaper was the first publication. Philly Joe, good morning. Big day. Hoping my 2024 big league arrives and opening day. Rain in Philly, so probably will be canceled. Let's go. That's awesome. There was part of me yesterday that's man, I really wish today was opening day, or I got my Topps Big League tomorrow for opening day. But at the end, I think it works out perfectly because it's Madison Card Show week. And I really needed my big league to come on Wednesday just so I could use Wednesday to rip and basically today to list. Raphael, good morning. Brian's in the house. Going to Marlins opening day. Awesome. Dan's here. What's happening, Dan? Todd in the house. Per ESPN, Phillies and Mets home openers are postponed. Wah, wah. Mark says crappy weather in New York, New Jersey. Mets opener postponed until tomorrow. Still going to watch baseball all day. Absolutely same here. I will have it on. Since today, it actually works out perfectly because I don't get I haven't figured out how to get my I have figured it out. I just don't have my remote, my Apple TV. I can't find the Apple TV remote. So I can get MLB TV on my Rec Room TV, but I've got to plug in the Apple TV and I don't have the remote for it. So when I watch MLB TV, it's in here, which is where I'm going to be most of the day anyway, as I list my tops big league. So our first game, we don't start until 2:05. So 2:05. And that's what, Orioles. So I probably won't really watch much baseball then. I'll probably turn that game on. And Reds Nationals at 3:10, along with Giants Padres, Cardinals Dodgers, Blue Jays Rays, Tigers White Sox, Pirates Marlins, Yankees Astros. So a lot of 3:10 games. And then Cubs Rangers tonight, 6:35. So Mr. Archer, good morning. Happy opening day. Bob McFarland's in the house. Have to wait another day for the start of the Jackson Chourio era. Who do the Brewers? So are the Brewers postponed? Is that the Phillies? Must be at the bottom here. Brewers, Mets. Brewers, Mets, and Braves, Phillies are both postponed. John says, if Topps Big League has Jesus in a Seattle Pilots uni, then I'm a buyer. Orlando laughs at John's silly comments. You got to open fast. Cards go stale. Ponzi this thing up. That's how it works. You got to open big league fast. Any new product, you've got to open it fast because it does go stale. New product in baseball cards goes stale like leaving a box of crackers open. John says, I like rosy stories better than Bible stories. Amen. Unicorn Cupcake says, there must be 50 ways to eat your babies. Top of the morning, tea timer. Happy opening day. Jody's in the house. Good morning. Johnny M says, good morning. I may be the only one listing football this time of year. I do a little mix. Right now, I'm still baseball heavy because there's so much buying of baseball, especially with what I carry, a lot of prospects. Obviously Big League was released yesterday, so that's going up. But I'm starting to feel where I should probably throw some alternate other than baseball in. I'm getting to that point. So maybe next week I'll start tossing in some football. I don't list too many basketball or other sports or non-sports, but yeah, football is something that I will list. And this is pretty much like when it comes to the football card market, generally speaking, this is like the worst time. Football definitely has the longest hobby power. Baseball's a much longer season, but there's a lot of like peaks and valleys in baseball. You'll see that peak start end of December, early January, in through opening day, and then there's kind of a lull, but it's pretty steady. You'll get a summer swoon, and then by the time the playoffs, and then it kind of starts going down. You'll get some pops for various players that perform at the end of the season and into the playoffs. And then it's pretty dead in October through basically fourth quarter. Baseball sales are pretty bad. Football basically has a couple months, and it's I would say football sales are pretty steady, with the exception of like immediately after the season ends into like May. So like February, March, April, pretty dead for football. But then we start seeing that preseason hype pick up in May. Good morning, Zach and Porter. What's happening? John says, my dog and I walked out of the house yesterday, got to the driveway, and I turned left to the Jeep. The dog turned right towards the sidewalk. He decided to start his walk without me. Landon's in the house. How about the Phillies being too scared to play the Braves today? I thought they were so confident after the past couple playoffs, but apparently they are scared. They must be scared. John says he didn't realize we were supposed to take the Jeep to the park and Starbucks. His tune changed real quick when he saw me driving away. Oh, shit. Good morning, Terry. John says I list football all the time. Seasons don't matter. I'm pretty much in that boat, but there are times where I'm heavy on listing one sport. Like this time of year, leading up to opening day, like January through opening day, I'm heavy baseball. The summer months, when we start to see that lull in baseball, that summer, the summer blahs, the June swoon, that's when I really power up my football listing, because football sales are really peaking in July and August. Zach wants to know, what do you get at Starbucks? 7 Mary 3. Possum Kingdom is a Toady song, a very good song. John says my wife's drink for the next day in a pup cup. 7 Mary Butt Rock, and that's why I like it. Love me some Butt Rock. I might have to throw some 7 Mary 3 on in the background today. John doesn't drink Starbucks. Me neither. Adam says, do I redeem all my home run challenge cards today? My kid says, do it. I guess that's the answer. You have to do it. Mark says, I get a good workout when I walk my German Shepherd and Staffy. They're both on red alert for squirrels. See, my dog doesn't like, there could be like, here's an example. There's a bunny rabbit that kind of like hangs out and lives in a bush in the front of our house. And it scares the shit out of me every once in a while. Like I'll take Biscuit out at night and all of a sudden, freaking rabbit comes running out. Just a few weeks ago, the rabbit doesn't zoom out of the bush, but it just kind of like, you know how rabbits are. They're either like, rabbits have two speeds, like the creeping slowly or zoom. And so he's in creeping slowly mode, and Biscuit just like stares at the rabbit. And then the rabbit takes off, and Biscuit's like, oh, okay. And just goes into the house. Biscuit like the only thing Biscuit likes is cats. Biscuit doesn't even like other dogs. Like she's just like, she'll tolerate dogs, but they'll sniff buttholes like dogs do. It's like, okay. And then go to the human. I want the human to pet me now. And then, okay, I'm going to go sniff pea spots. Like, oh, ooh, this tree smells good. And that's it, which is kind of nice. You don't have to worry about the dog racing after squirrels or rabbits or other dogs. Zach says, John, are you still in my will then? My dog can't hear me and can't outrun me anymore. I have the advantage. I'm not sure what's happening with these dogs. Happy opening day. Joe Trotto's in the house. Zach says, I came in halfway through this story. I'm imagining this is Bo describing how he kidnapped a family and now is keeping them in Frank's basement. He will release the family after they catalog Cubs. Hey, by the way, speaking of Frank, so after this whole dog chasing ordeal ends, I pull in the driveway and like everybody's across the street, down the street. And so I walk down and introduce myself because like, you don't do that. You don't introduce yourself to neighbors anymore. So I went down and introduced myself, and the neighbor, guess what his name is? Frank. So I have another Frank in the neighborhood. I have another neighbor Frank, much different than old neighbor Frank, but Frank nonetheless. John says, Bo's out chasing the dog while the price is plummeting on Topps Big League. That's the risk you take, being a good Samaritan and helping chase down stray neighborhood dogs. Topps Big League price is plummeting, but we're catching the dog. Does the neighbor's son need a lighting guy for his metal band? Yeah, last night was practice night. I'm really hoping they were taking photo. I don't know if I shared this, but they were taking pictures last Wednesday. So Wednesday is my neighbor, Kind of gives me a Step Brothers vibe. He's a drummer, and he's in a metal band. And so they practice on Wednesday nights in the basement, which I can see from my window here. So I just kind of hang out upstairs so I don't have to listen to shitty metal. And I guess last Wednesday I was flying home, and when my wife picked me up from the airport, she's like, "Yeah, they were taking photos pictures of themselves down by the pond. So it's probably going to be there." I'm like, "Oh, it's probably going to be their album cover." I'm like, "Cool." I was there. John says, "Are the Cubs making the playoffs again this year?" Playoffs. So my prediction on the Cubs this season, happy opening day, is I think it's going to be, so my prediction last year was 83 or 84 wins, and I think they ended up with 83. Last year, my prediction was, and if they won 84, they would have gotten the playoffs. They won 83 games, missed the playoffs. This year, I think they will be a very similar record. I'm predicting 83 to 85 wins for the Cubs. I think Vegas has the odds over under at 84.5. Pacoda has 81. Keith Law came out yesterday. He had him at 90. In my group chat, somebody says our lineup is 15 games better than last year. I'm like, dude, stop drinking the Kool-Aid. This lineup is not 15 games better. And here's part of the reason why, in my opinion. I think Justin Steele, I was very bullish on Justin Steele last year. Said he was going to, my prediction at the beginning of the year, he's going to finish top 3 in the Cy Young. He should have, but he finished, I think, 5th in the Cy Young voting. I think we're going to see a regression because I'm worried about the amount of innings he pitched last year. So I'm a little concerned with Justin Steele and how he's going to perform coming off of that high inning season. Which is crazy to talk, like, for Mark and John and Rich and Cooter. Like, we're talking about this, like, and he pitched like he had never pitched like over 110 innings. Like, in the 1970s, there wasn't a starting pitcher that pitched less than 110 or, 200 innings. It's crazy to think about. Like, these are the numbers that we now use in baseball. So I think there's going to be a regression on Justin Steele. As far as the lineup, I think the opening day lineup is considerably better than our opening day lineup last year when Trey Mancini and Eric Hosmer and Edwin Rios or somebody was in the lineup. So we've improved there. But really, overall, we're basically banking on better performance out of the Cubs lineup because there wasn't much addition. We did re-sign Cody Bellinger, but again, I think there's going to be regression with Cody Bellinger. He had a great season last year. Can he duplicate that? He had a great rookie season, and then he had some shitty seasons, and then he had a great season. It's like, which Cody Bellinger did we get for 2024? So I think there's going to be some regression, but I think there's going to be some players. I think Ian Happ is due for a good year, a much better year, in my opinion. I think Seiya Suzuki will have a better season. I think Craig Counsell and how he manages the team. I'm not big on managers providing a lot of wins for Major League Baseball teams. But in the case of replacing David Ross with Craig Counsell, I think that's worth a couple wins based on David Ross just playing shitty players, not playing, starting Alexander Canario, he hits a grand slam, and then he doesn't play for 9 days. So my prediction for the Cubs, 83 to 85 wins. I think they will make the playoffs. I think the National League Central is wide open. I think it's going to be a tight race between 4 teams. Poor Pittsburgh. They're the only team that, I feel is going to be in the basement. But I think the Reds are going to be good. I think the Cardinals are going to be better, obviously. The Brewers, I think, we'll probably see some regression by the Brewers. Cardinals will see some improvement. But I still, like, with the Cardinals, it's like, that's a really old pitching staff. Like, yeah, they signed some starting pitchers, but they're kind of ancient in baseball. So we'll see. We'll see. And unfortunately for the Cardinals, they have like 3 guys on the IL to start the season, including Dylan Carlson, who unfortunately got hurt here at like the last game of spring training. So it's going to be interesting. The National League Central, I think, is going to be fun because it's going to be very competitive. There's a Cardinals fan. Porter, what's going on? George in the house. You sticking with him unless he bets on baseball? Cooter's flying to D.C. today to visit my daughter and see the cherry blossoms. Very nice. Landon says ESPN has subpar sports coverage. I listen to the radio call whenever ESPN has Braves games. It has definitely, ESPN as a whole has just kind of gone down. Max says, let the rats roam around freely. If they get hit, they get hit. Max is an asshole. Max, you asshole. Todd says to Mark, I thought of you yesterday as my son got his first suit as he gets ready for the real world, and he now has a suit guy. Yes. Very nice. Good luck to Todd's son. Cooter says, to quote Steve Goodman, who also wrote the greatest country and western song, Country and Western, do they still play the Blues in Chicago when baseball season comes around? We'll move on. Troy, what's up? Watching the Blue Jays at 4 today. John says Cooter should turn in his man card. Cherry Blossom is an exotic dancer. Oh, yeah. She performs over in Delavan or whatever the hell the country strip club is. There's like, when I go back roads to Club 400, there's 2 strip clubs like in the middle of nowhere. John says, saying publicly you're here for the cherry blossoms is akin to having the AutoZone guy install your wiper blades for you. What's wrong with having the AutoZone guy install wiper blades? What's wrong with that? I think I've probably installed wiper blades on my own. Usually, though, I just wait until I get an oil change and they're like, hey, you need new wiper blades, and I'll pay the upcharge at, the dealership. And I go to the dealership to get an oil change because it's free. That's why. I'll let the AutoZone lady change my blade, says Porter. Max says lower end and retired stuff doesn't matter season-wise. I agree 100%. But you start getting into the $50 plus market and season matters quite a bit, can lose your ass. I do agree. Yeah, especially on current stuff. Off season's a great time to buy with current players. Cooter says, sorry, what I meant to say was Mrs. Cooter has always wanted to attend the Cherry Blossom Festival in D.C., so I will be accompanying her while listening to a ball game live stream. There you go. You get your man card back. Herman, what's up? Happy opening day. Herman is here. John says the AutoZone ladies do have a certain quality to them. Cooter says Bo just announced he is scared by a bush. Bush. A burning bush? Oh, the rabbit bush. I'm like, what bush was I scared of? The rabbit bush. You live at 8 Mile. Be rabbit there? Man card suspension revoked. You are, however, in a probationary phase now. Mark says everyone should have a suit guy. I do not have a suit. Are you surprised that I don't have a suit guy? Who am I? I don't have a suit guy, but I also don't change my own oil. I'm an enigma. John says, and he's 40 years old. Is your neighbor playing Bratfest? They're not that good. How shitty do you have to be not good enough to play Bratfest? Hopefully he's not watching. Sorry, buddy. All in good fun. One of my dealers plays Bratfest. Their band is really good. They're called the Foo Foo Dolls. They're a 90s cover band, obviously. And they play Bratfest every year. His name's Ray, and you can see him this Saturday at the Madison Card Show at the Sheraton Hotel on John Nolan Drive. John says, I'm predicting Joe Girardi by Memorial Day. Where is Joe Girardi? He's not in the booth anymore. I think he took a job. Did he take a job with the Yankees broadcast team? Somewhere. He's not with Marquee Network anymore. Max says most people also don't realize how much 15 games better. That's true. That's true. And I always remember, like, most people don't know how to math. And it's like, oh, having this guy in the lineup is, and it's like, look at the number. So I did, and I looked at the numbers, and I'm like, okay, so you gave Trey Mancini, Eric Hosmer, and Luis Torrens as an example and replaced them with these guys. These guys are in the lineup. Over the course of the entire 2023 season, that was a difference of like 3 wins based on WAR, everybody's favorite statistic. So it's like, where are you mathing the 15 games better? And I can tell you a manager is not going to be 10 to 12 games better, no matter the manager. I mean, you or I could be a manager and wouldn't win 12 less games than a big league manager, in my opinion. Yeah, people just don't know how to math. It's kind of like when I was at Cubs convention a few years, this was during the heyday. God, it's been so long. So this was, I don't know if it was leading into the 2016 season or coming out of the 2016 season. I think it was coming out of. So everybody's high on the Cubs Kool-Aid because they just won the World Series. They've got everybody back. I'm in the elevator, and there's a bunch of us in the elevator, and there's some random typical Chicago meathead fans, and 100 wins in baseball is like, a couple teams a year get to 100 wins. So one guy, there's 162, and what's the all-time record? 116 wins is like the all-time record. And so we're riding in the elevator, and one guy goes, I think the Cubs can win 110 games this year. The other guy scoffed, and he goes, 110? They'll win way more than that. And I'm like, do you know, like, what? Like, what's maybe that's just maybe way more to him is 112. Way more than 110 wins in a season. He was wrong. I don't even think the Cubs won 100 games after that. Wow. 2017 Chicago Cubs. Did they win 100 games in 2017? No, they only won 92 games. Was that 92? Yeah, that's 162. So yeah, 92 wins in 2017. White Sox will win 58 games, maybe. I'm sorry, Zach. I'm sorry. That's all I can say. I feel bad for White Sox fans. Oh, they need new ownership. Bad. Is there a way to just like force Jerry Reinsdorf into just sell everything and go lay on a beach and just give up the Bulls and White Sox? Please, for the sake of Chicago. Like, even as a Cubs fan, we need I don't think we need, but I want, as a Chicago sports fan, I want the White Sox to be good. I want obviously the Cubs to be good. I want the Bulls and Blackhawks and Bears to be good. Raleigh Fingers pitched 130 plus innings as a closer. And Justin Steele pitched what? What was his? I don't want to recite numbers that are wrong, but I think 110 was his high mark in a season before last year, including minor leagues. 20 or standard pitching. So in the major leagues, Justin Steele, 2022, he pitched 119 innings. That was his high mark. And then he did 173 and a third last year. in the minor leagues, and he goes back. He was a high school pick in 2014. So his first couple seasons, obviously, he's under control. 18 innings because he was a high school draft pick. 40 innings in 2015. 2016, 77 innings. 2017, 98 innings. 2018, 46 innings. 2019, 38 innings. And he was a starter in all of those seasons. And then 2020, that was the COVID year. And then the major leagues. So 119 was by far his most innings pitched, in 173, obviously by far. Wilbur Wood pitched 110 innings in one day. Today, guys don't even throw 100 pitches. That's true. Mike Marshall threw 208 innings in 1974, still mind-boggling. Mike Marshall. Starters are now middle relievers. Yeah, it's a completely different game today. Warren Spahn and Juan Marichal threw 16 innings of shutout ball in one game, taking a book about that game with me on the plane today. Oh, nice. What a game. Looking at a Mike Marshall 1970 Pilots card right now, top of the pile. Very cool. Gulfport. John, if you've ever, I feel John would, I don't know, I haven't been to Gulfport in a long time. And it got flooded out, which was probably good. That river water cleaned it out. That dirty, nasty Mississippi river water cleaned the town. Yeah, you should check out Gulfport. Let's just do something for fun while Gulfport is top of mind. I'm sure there's an Urban Dictionary reference about Gulfport, Illinois. Gulfport, Illinois Urban Dictionary. I mean, there is. Gulfport, Urban Dictionary, a small and often forgotten city east of, that's Mississippi. These are all Gulfport, Mississippi. A Gulfport, do you want to know what a Gulfport gusher is? When you accidentally shit yourself while getting your butthole fingered behind the wheel of a fortune slot at the Island View Hotel and Casino in Gulfport, Mississippi. That's a Gulfport gusher. Woo. I don't think I want a Gulfport gusher. Where's Gulfport? There's got to be some Gulfport, Illinois. That actually works in Illinois also. That actually works in Gulfport, Illinois. Gulfport, Illinois. I don't know. Google Gulfport, Illinois at your own risk. Zach and Porter says, Cooter, reading is un-American. Good thing you were going to D.C. so you can be baptized in the Potomac to revive your soul. Can someone ship me a box full of Reese's eggs? And I think Dan's being serious. Those are the shit. And not the Gulfport gusher type of shit. Love the idiots that say season doesn't matter. Bullshit. People have ADD minds. Squirrel. Herman says, Dan, Reese eggs are the best. Dan says, yes, they are. The chocolate to peanut butter ratio is perfect. It is. That's why. That's why. Damn it. Now I'm going to go to Walmart and buy some frickin' peanut butter eggs. Cooter says, I have a suit guy. He sold me $15,000 of suits I don't need anymore because most businesses have gone casual. I feel funny wearing. Here's what I don't get. And maybe Mark can help me out with this, being a suit guy. But Mark, when I see Mark's photos like on Facebook, like Mark's got style. I think your suit guy should have style. Mark's got style. When I see like all these businessmen, if I'm out and about and like, here's the sales guy, they're wearing black suits, white shirt, plain tie, or maybe it's got a little design on it. They all look the same. Navy blue with brown shoes or black with black shoes. Like, there's no, like, yeah, you're wearing a suit. There's no style. You need some, I would think you need some, you don't have to look like Craig Sager, rest in peace, but have some style. Mark Marinello, he's got style. I just don't get the plain black suits, plain navy blue suits. Joe left to go to New York. Okay, so he did go to the Yankees, right? The Yes Network. Joe Girardi is with Yes Network. Call. There we go. Calling Yankee games. He still lights up a room. Peoria guy. That Joe Girardi. Mark says New York fans take Meathead fans to a whole other level. That's true. Sports talk in New York is a complete shit show. Yeah, that's true. That is very true. Herman says Braves Phillies opening day game has been postponed. What the hell? Sorry, Herman, you've got to wait today. But don't worry. You'll still get your 162 games this year. Victor says White Sox asking for taxpayer money to build a new stadium in the South Loop. White Sox will win more games than Rendon will be bothered to play. Harlan says, I didn't know there was a name for that. Now I can use that when I tell my Gulfport story. There you go, the old Gulfport gusher. Yo, what's up, Dystemic? Orlando says in the old days, old Hoss Radbourn pitched 678 innings one year. Old Hoss Radbourn. No doubt in my mind that Cooter is wearing a suit today when he visits Cherry Blossom and Tangerine Lee. Porter says their ancient innings eaters concept could work, but I'm not banking on it. Bullpen is much improved. Victor Scott getting the opening day nod in center field, 62 stolen bases last, and a minor league gold glove in Double-A. So let me tell you a story about Victor Scott. It's actually just a boring fantasy baseball story. So we have 2 prospect keepers in our league. So we have 5 keepers, and then we can stash 2 prospects. So currently my prospects are, I think, Adele Amador of the Rockies, and who I'm trying to replace because it's like, eh. And who's my other? See, this is how bad my prospects are. My other is Roman Anthony, and I just added him this year. Because I had to replace him with Christian Encarnacion Strand. Christian Encarnacion Strand was a prospect last year, and I never called him up to my big league roster. So he's no longer eligible to be a prospect this year, so I had to drop him, picked up Roman Anthony. I'm looking around, who else do I want? Victor Scott was on my radar. And I ended up waiting. I'm like, I'll just do it once the season starts. Well, he got drafted in my league, and I'm like, shit, I should have added him before the draft because I could have had him as a prospect because he hasn't made his debut yet, and I could have had him, but then I would have had to make another move. I could have stashed him, but I couldn't play him. Basically, our prospect rules, you can keep them even after their debut. You can keep them as a prospect, but as soon as you put them on your roster, they're no longer a prospect. You have to replace them. So you have to drop a big leaguer. So that's my Victor Scott story. So I lost out on him. So I'm still trying to find a prospect to replace Adele Amador. I'm kind of going the route of the idea I came up with, like, let's do like let's start it out small on prospects. It was my idea because I saw all these people adding like Jason Dominguez when he's 16 years old. It's like, you're not going to put him as a keeper because he's still 3 years away at that point in time. And then one year I like stashed a whole bunch of prospects just because I was out of the playoffs. And I'm like, I'm just going to, and then it's like, I have to drop them because I'm not going to keep any of these guys. Like, let's stash some of these guys. And so we do. So I don't know who I've looked at, like the top 10, like who's closest to the big leagues. Just don't know. Obviously the top 10 to 15 prospects in baseball are taken because there's 12 teams in our league, 2 keepers each. So 24 prospects are among keepers. Where are we at? Max says black suits haven't been a thing for like 20 years. I see black suits all the time and navy blue and black suits. That's all I see. A lot of people still wearing suits, work in very conservative occupations. Then old Hoss died of dysentery. Can anyone here recommend a baseball card printer? It's a good question. Don't bash a mountaineer, says Trader Mitch. He shouldn't have taken the Oregon Trail. Dysentery, yes. Mark would be honored to be your suit guy. You should wear one when you reach 1 million Cubs. No, it's not my style. And when I reach 1 million Cubs, it'll be in a although it would be taking baseball back. Wear a top hat or whatever, or a fedora. What they wear in the old timies. It is kind of cool to look at old baseball photos, like in the States. Everybody's wearing a suit in 1932. Now you look at Wrigley Field bleachers, nobody's even wearing a shirt. All right, that's what I had for today. Happy opening day. Cubs tonight. Cubs Rangers 6:35. I'll be tuned in. We don't get our first baseball game until 2:10 this afternoon Central Time, but I'll be tuned in. I will be adding some Topps Big League singles. Those will be going into my eBay store. It's now scrolling at the bottom of your screen, 99centcards.com. Link also in the description. Buy 7 or more items, you'll get 25% off at checkout. Did add some of the super rare red foils from Big League, added all of the autographs I pulled, and today I'll be adding the base singles. So be on the lookout for those in my eBay store. Madison Card Show this Saturday, 9 to 3, Sheraton Hotel, John Nolan Drive, 175 dealer tables. Couple in our chat. Michael Renicky will be set up as a dealer. Max MD Sports Cards will be set up as a dealer. Unicorn Cupcake will be set up as a dealer. Any other dealers in the live chat this morning? I think just those 3. Going up here. I think just those 3. Unless I'm missing somebody. I apologize. So that's this Saturday. Sheraton Hotel, John Nolan Drive. We'll do it again tomorrow morning. Bob, sorry, I missed Bucky Bob. Bob will be set up as a dealer this Saturday as well. I thought I was missing somebody. So come check us out. Sheraton Hotel, John Nolan Drive this Saturday. Zach says I should change my own oil to celebrate 1 million Cubs. Landon says, how do we go from suits to shirtless to jerseys? And what's the next style? Who knows? It might be a little scary to think about. Does Mark approve of the open collar with white Fruit of the Loom look? It doesn't matter whether or not he is. This is my style. This is the way I ride. This is the Bo style. You're either on board or you're off. This is the Bo style. Lee Elia was right about Wrigley Field customers. That's right. The classic Lee Elia rant of 1983. So, hey, hit the like button if you haven't already. Subscribe to the channel. Visit my eBay store and come out to the Madison Card Show this Saturday. Tomorrow morning, hopefully we'll be right on time. We've been eking closer and closer to that 7 a.m. spot as I continue to deal with this head shit. So, try to aim for 7 a.m. Central tomorrow morning, and we'll play Name That Player. We took a week off, and we'll be back at it tomorrow morning. So like and subscribe. See you tomorrow.